We're right back. Most people, when you're talking about sex, they do not want to talk about it. Now, what's really important is that they do not want to talk about it in the earshot of children. It's a sticky issue. It's a sticky issue. It is. It's one of those issues where you feel that it's important to talk about because it's a need. Their divorce rates are too high. And intelligent people can understand that obviously you have to educate the children concerning it some type of way, but they just don't know how. Why? Because everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people have a sex addiction. And it doesn't matter who they claim to be. They are members, they are members of society. And members of society, some of them, majority of all of them, in my assessment, is that the majority of people are addicted to sex. And so you don't want people to be talking to your children about sex. What about yourself? Well, maybe you are afraid to talk about it because you don't want, you know how kids is. I learned that from my parents concerning sex. And it's like, okay, what else did you learn? Because it's a concern that you're learning about sex and you're being educated on it. And with sex addiction really high in our society, it concerns me to wonder if maybe there's not an ulterior motivation, even if it's coming from your parents. So they don't want to talk about it. But let me tell you something. You're teaching your children anyway. You know why? Because when you send them out in the world, they are going to be educated on sex. They're going to understand that it's important not to conceive a child, but to express themselves. They need it to feel whole. And you're sending them out in the world and they're going to get that education. It's just like you're teaching them. It makes sense. To me anyway. In my independent research, I found out that, children, they're going to get this education anyway. You don't want the people in the school to teach them because of the high rate of sex addiction. You don't want to teach a child because you don't want people to think that you have a sex addiction and you're teaching your children and you're trying to feed into your sexual addiction. You just don't want people to misrepresent you. People misrepresent people all the time, but you don't want people to misrepresent you concerning sex. Where did you learn that? Your parents taught you? The teachers huddle up. They say, maybe we got to investigate. Let's see what this person is all about. So people say, hey, I don't even want to talk to my kids about sex. Even though there's a high rate of divorce. It's just terrible. It really is. Because some people think that, they cannot talk about this issue and everything is going to be all right. That's what makes it terrible in my book. We don't have to talk about this. I don't want to talk about that. It's still going to become an issue. It's just going to have negative consequences. Your kids are going to grow up thinking that they need to have sex. And their only need at that age is to express themselves. That's it. But because it's so much emphasis on sex in society, there is a sex addiction crisis. It's so much emphasis on sex. Once you become old enough, mature enough, I should say, you learn that sex is overrated. And, it's not about having sex. It's about becoming the best person that you can be when you become mature enough. So why do you not teach that to children? Well, I just told you. But still, it would help them to learn that. It will. It's like setting them up for an addiction. You know that they have a need to express themselves in school, in society, in the media, and even in their own home. They're going to say that sex is important. They're going to be whispering and sneaking and talking about the issue amongst themselves. And they're going to say that it's very important and they got to have sex because they have a need to express themselves. In my own independent research, I found out that it's very important to teach kids concerning expressing themselves and understanding sex when they get of age. The only reason why you have to teach kids about sex is because they're going to get addicted to it. They're going to get fascinated about it. It's going to be something that's going to cause them to obsessively think about it because they have a need to express themselves. And they're saying that, I have this need. Maybe, just maybe, I can be popular. I can express myself. I can talk. I can feel good about myself by having sex because all the cool kids are having sex. They expect you to do this. Who expect you to do this? Well, society. Who is raising your kids, really? Are you raising your kids? Did you get raised by your parents? Or did you raise yourself? Or did society and yourself raise yourself? How did it happen? Did your parents teach you about sex? Okay, what happened? Did you conceive a child because you planned to conceive a child? Or did you just, made a mistake, had a child? And if I was thinking right, addiction cause you not to use your intelligence. It caused you not to use your intelligence because if you do, you would not have sex to express yourself. You would learn how to express your sexuality / personality. And like I said, and you could write that down, if you have a problem with expressing yourself, you're going to have an addiction because you're going to use something like sex, drugs, alcohol, gambling, or any other thing that you can get your hands on to try to express yourself. And it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Quit making the impression that sex is what would make you have an edge on life. It would make you win on life. Quit doing that. But you do that because you feed into it. We're going to be right back. We're going to talk about masturbation, sex, and all of that.